Hey everybody, I'm Kyle. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. If you haven't been here before, don't worry about it. You haven't missed a whole lot, but I am glad that you're here. If you stick around, you're going to learn that I like talking about soccer and making lists. So we're just going to jump right into it. And today we're doing my top 10 favorite World Cup balls. And we're not doing which one's the best statistically, anything like that. This is simply my favorite ones. So I do have an honorary mention list. I'm actually going to do first because I feel like they're not the greatest to look at, but they're too important to really not include in the top 10 list. They're just not in my top 10. So for number one, the honorary mention number one is going to be the original ball from the 1930 World Cup hosted in Uruguay. And it is the Tiento and the T model. And the reason there are two is because Argentina and Uruguay, the two teams that made it to the final, could not agree on which ball to use. And so they compromised. Argentina provided the ball for the first half, which was the Tiento, and then Uruguay provided the ball for the second half, which was the T model. And I'm assuming it was called the T model because the panels come together and they look like a T. But fun fact is Argentina went into halftime leading 2-1 with the ball they provided, and then Uruguay came back and shut them out in the second half and actually scored 3 goals themselves to go up 4-2, and they won the first World Cup. And I'm not saying that Argentina didn't know how to play with the T model, but they didn't score a goal with the T model. All I'm saying. But number two is going to be the Duplo T from the 1950 World Cup in Brazil. And it's significant because this is the first version without laces. Yes, all the way up until 1950, soccer balls had laces on them. And then, of course, they came up with this evolution, and they're now laceless. They also introduced the syringe valve, which is what we use to pump up soccer balls and basketballs and footballs today. So very important for the evolution of soccer, of just sports balls altogether. And then number three, it's only on this list because I liked the story behind it, and it's from the 1962 World Cup hosted in Chile, which I believe is where it was hosted. I didn't look it up, but it was the Chilean company that provided this ball, so I'm guessing it was Chile. And so they called it the Crack. I don't know why they called it the Crack, but they thought that was a good name for a soccer ball. But the official for the first game hated it so much that he called for a European ball to be delivered at halftime, and that's what they finished the ball with, or the game with. And then European teams didn't play with the Crack at all. They provided their own ball. So and that referee's name was Ken Aston, by the way. So those are the honorary mentions. So jumping in at number 10 is going to be the tricolor from the 1998 World Cup in France. The significance of this one is the fact that this is the first version of an Adidas ball to have color incorporated in the design, other than it just being white and black. Adidas had used gold lettering, but the primary colors of the balls all the way up until 1998 have been just plain black and white. And this one used the Adidas Tango design, which is also the last design or the last version of this ball to use the Tango design, which was introduced in 1978. So from 1978 to 1998, Adidas had used some version of the Tango design in this, and they used the French national colors because France was the host nation. So that is the importance of the tricolor. Moving on to number 9. Excuse me. This one absolutely had to be on the list. It's the classic design of a soccer ball. You ask anybody to draw it, they're going to draw this version of a soccer ball. And it is the 1970 World Cup ball from Mexico, the Telstar, which is also the first time that Adidas was the primary provider of the ball for the World Cup. And they have been ever since 1970. Don't know how they pulled that off, but they're making money off of it. So, but it's also the very first iteration of this design, of the 32 panel design with the white and black hexagonal panels. And you ask anybody to draw a soccer ball by memory, it's going to be that. that design. Also, the reason why I put that ball on this list specifically is because this is a 1970 World Cup replica jersey of Brazil, which most people would know went on to win the World Cup. And those, however, it's a replica jersey, those are real signatures from those players, which are Pele, which hopefully he recognized Pele, Jorginho, Gerson, and Carlos Roberto. So that's my prized possession. Don't come find me and steal it. Up next on this list is number 8, and it's only on this list for 2 reasons. And it's 1, so I could fill out a top 10, and 2, so I can make a nerdy reference. And so it's going to be the 1966 version of the World Cup ball from England, and it is the Challenger 4-star. It is orange, and they put 4 stars on it. It's a Dragon Ball. All right, number 7. I could not make this list as an American and not include the 1994 World Cup ball that was hosted here in the United States, and that is the Questra. That's why it's on the list. Also, I wanted to show off another piece of my World Cup memorabilia. I found this in a pawn shop, excuse me, in my little town here in Southeast Alabama, which surprised the crap out of me, and they gave me a great deal. So I have 2 pieces of World Cup memorabilia. Number 6 on this list is going to be the FIFA Nova from the 2002 World Cup in both South Korea and Japan, and they were co-hosts that year. And but this is really the first year that they started to look at the culture of the host nations and incorporate that into the design of the ball. And so this one has green and gold to represent the traditional Asian culture royalty colors of the families and stuff like that. And the red accents are supposed to be calligraphy strokes, because, you know, calligraphy is really big in Asian culture as well. The ball itself was controversial. They said that it was a little too light and it made it kind of fly all over the place and just change direction. Unpredictable, which was the complete opposite of what they were trying to accomplish, was a predictable flight path, which is what you're going to see going forward with these next couple of ones. Number 5 is the Telstar 18 from the Russia World Cup in 2018, which you can tell by the name of it. They were honoring the original Telstar from 1970, not just in name, but also in design as well. They went back to a traditional black and white coloration. It's nowhere close to the classic design that the Telstar is, but they went back to that. But they did make it a little futuristic, made it some pixelations and stuff. It does look like a pretty good design. But in the group stages, they used the standard black and white and a little bit of gray, and then from the knockout stage and up, they used the Mekta, which is the same design, just a different colorway, and it was red and black and white, I believe. Excuse me. Number 4, I'm not going to lie, numbers 4 through 2, they were difficult for me to place, but I just kind of went with my gut. And so number 4 is going to be the, I don't know how to pronounce it, the Al-Rihla from the 2022 World Cup hosted in Qatar. And I don't know, I really like the design. It doesn't really stick out to me a whole lot, which I think is why I put it at number 4. This one probably has some of the most technologically advanced evolution going forward. They put a chip in this one to kind of cooperate with the new auto offside technology that they were incorporating into the World Cup as well. That way it could automatically just send to the ref, yeah, he was offside, no, he wasn't offside. That's controversial in itself. The design of the ball itself was really good. And then in the World Cup, final, they used the Al-Rihla, it's going to be on screen, for the final. And fun fact is the fact that Al-Rihla means journey, and Al-Rihla, if I'm butchering that, I'm sorry, means dream. So, yeah, that comes in at number 4. So coming in at number 3, we've got the Brazuca from the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. And this is actually the first ball to be named by the fans, which they also use that term to kind of just express their way of life as well. And I think this ball perfectly encapsulates the Jogo Bonito style of play that Brazil has brought to the world stage ever since my boy Pele back there played. And I just think it is a stunning looking ball. And so that's why I got it at number 3. So at number 2, we've got the Teamgeist from the 2006 World Cup in Germany. Honestly, I don't know what it is about this ball that just has always stuck out to me. It could be the fact that this is really the first World Cup I paid attention to. I didn't watch it all the way through, and I even fell asleep during the final, but I did wake up just in time to see Zidane put his head through an Italian. So, but this ball has always stuck out to me. The things that it brought to the game of soccer, it was the first one to print the match on the ball, just the date and the match. So like in the World Cup 2022 final, it was Argentina versus France. If you saw that printed on the game balls, then that started in 2006 with the Teamgeist. And it was also the first one to use a different design ball on purpose for the final versus the rest of the games of the tournament. So that's kind of what it brought to the World Cup stage. So at number 1, if you saw my list of players' names that I think are the most fun to say in soccer, you already know that the 2010 South African World Cup is my personal favorite. And so with that, the Jabulani takes the top spot, which is going to be controversial for some diehard fans, because I think the Jabulani itself is actually one of the most hated World Cup balls by the players specifically, and goalkeepers in particular. You remember when I said they wanted they were trying to go with a predictable flight path for these World Cup balls? Well, Jabulani ain't it. They marketed it as a perfectly spherical ball, which a lot of experts are saying was part of the problem, which made it way more unpredictable than it should have been. But they also put grooves on it that if you hit it a certain way, that it just knuckled, and so like it could be going left, and then boom, right. You know, like, and there, just go look up highlights of goals from the 2010 World Cup, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But like I said, this was not my list of statistically top 10 best World Cup balls. It's just the ones that I like. And I don't know what it is about the South African World Cup, but I think it's just, one, it's the first one that I paid attention to all the way through from start to finish. There's some great moments for the United States in the World Cup. That year specifically, Clint Dempsey scoring against Robert Greene. You got nightmares about that one, huh? With the Jabulani. And I woke my brother up at 7 o'clock in the morning because when Landon Donovan scored against Algeria in the 90 whatever minute to send us through to the knockout stage, I was laying perfectly flat on a couch, and I just, within a split second, I was up and screaming on my feet. And he had to wake up at 9 o'clock to go to work, and he was not happy. But anyway, that World Cup was my personal favorite, and I'll probably go into more detail here in another video. But that's my list of top 10 World Cup balls, my favorite ones. Let me reiterate that. And a lot of the information came from Wikipedia and worldcupballs.info. I didn't plagiarize, but I took a lot of information from those guys. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
And it's spherical.